Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever looked at your life and thought, this isn't how I planned it to be? Maybe things feel scattered, uncertain, or even broken. You try to hold it all together, but somewhere deep down, you wonder, is there any meaning in this mess? Today, I want to tell you something powerful. Your mess isn't your mistake, it's your message. You see, we live in a world obsessed with perfection, filtered photos, flawless routines, perfect success stories. But the truth is, real growth rarely comes from the polished moments. It comes from the chaos, from the tears you hid, the failures you feared, and the detours you didn't plan. That's where purpose begins to take shape. Think about it, every masterpiece starts as a mess. A painter splatters colors before form appears. A writer's first draft is full of scribbles and crossed out lines. A sculptor begins with an unshaped block of stone. And yet, in all that disorder, creation is happening. The same goes for you. Every confusion, every breakdown, every mistake, it's not wasted. It's sculpting you into who you're meant to be. The mess is molding your message. The struggle is shaping your strength. Maybe you're in a season where nothing makes sense, where life feels off track. Maybe you lost a job, a dream, a relationship, or even your confidence. I want you to pause and breathe. Because this right here, right now could be your turning point. The moment you stop running from the mess and start listening to it. Your purpose doesn't live in the perfect version of you. It lives in the authentic one, the one who failed, who cried, who started over again and again. That's where empathy grows. That's where resilience is born. That's where purpose takes root. When you learn to embrace your mess, you start to see life differently. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? You stop hiding your scars and begin to show them as proof that you healed. You stop fearing the cracks because you realize that's where the light enters. So don't be ashamed of your chaos. Don't shrink in your storm. Don't compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You are not broken, you are becoming. Every piece of your story, the good, the bad, the ugly, is part of something bigger. And when you finally gather those pieces with courage and love, you'll see it a pattern, a purpose, a reason you had to walk through it all. So today, I challenge you, embrace your mess, hold it, learn from it, and let it teach you. Because one day, when you look back, you'll realize your mess was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to define you. That's where your purpose lies, not in perfection, but in the beautiful, chaotic, raw truth of your becoming. Your mess isn't your mistake, it's your message. We spend so much of our lives trying to cover up the chaos. The moments we stumbled, the seasons we lost direction, the mistakes that left marks we'd rather forget. We hide them under layers of perfection, thinking that the world only wants to see the polished version of us, the one that has it all figured out. But what if the very thing you've been trying to hide is the most powerful part of your story? What if your mess isn't your mistake, it's your message? Every person who has ever inspired change has walked through a season of mess. Whether it's heartbreak, loss, failure, or confusion, the journey through struggle becomes the foundation for purpose. When you think of great inventors, leaders, artists, or thinkers, their stories don't start with success, they start with chaos. They start with a problem, a pain, a setback. That's the soil where transformation takes root. Your mess holds meaning because it teaches you empathy. You can't truly understand the pain of others until you've faced your own. The moments when life feels heavy, when the world feels unfair, those are the moments that shape your compassion. They strip away arrogance and replace it with humility. They give you a heart that not only sees others' struggles but feels them. And that's where real connection begins. That's where purpose is born. We often say, I'll share my story once it's perfect, once I've healed, once I've succeeded, once I've figured it all out. But the truth is, people don't connect to perfection, they connect to realness. They find hope not in your victories, but in your vulnerability. When you open up about your mess, you tell others, it's okay, you can survive this too. Your story becomes a bridge between pain and possibility. Think of your life like a mosaic, a collection of broken pieces that, when arranged with purpose, create something breathtaking. Alone, those fragments seem meaningless. Together, they form a masterpiece. The same is true for you. The broken moments, the lost opportunities, the nights you cried yourself to sleep, all of it matters. Every piece plays a part in the larger picture of who you are becoming. When you embrace your mess, you give your past a purpose. You stop letting shame control your story and start using your story to set yourself and others free. The things that once embarrassed you become the very lessons that empower someone else. The pain you endured becomes the platform you stand on. The things that once made you feel small now make you unstoppable. So, stop waiting for life to be perfect before you show up. Stop hiding the parts of you that are still healing. You are not meant to be flawless, you are meant to be authentic. The power isn't in being unbroken. It's in being brave enough to rise again and again, despite the cracks. Remember this. The messiest chapters of your life may one day become the most meaningful pages in someone else's survival guide. Your journey, with all its twists, turns, and imperfections, is your living proof that beauty can come from brokenness. Your mess isn't your mistake. It's your message, and once you begin to share it with courage and honesty, you'll realize the world didn't need your perfection. It needed your truth. Growth begins in chaos, not perfection. We all love the idea of progress, that upward climb toward success, peace, and purpose. But let's be honest, we want it neat. We want the journey to look like a straight line, carefully mapped out, free of mistakes and confusion. We crave control, yet life in all its wild beauty doesn't grow in straight lines. It grows in spirals, storms, and seasons of chaos. Because the truth is, growth never begins in perfection. It begins in chaos. Think of nature, our greatest teacher. Seeds don't sprout in silence and stillness. They break open underground in the dark, surrounded by dirt. Forests grow through wildfires that seem destructive, but are actually making way for renewal. Even a storm, chaotic and loud, clears the air and brings fresh beginnings. In the same way, your moments of chaos are not signs that you're failing. They are signs that something new is being born within you. We're taught to fear messiness. We're told to hold it together, to always appear calm, collected, and certain. But that's not how transformation works. The process of becoming who you are meant to be is messy. It's full of uncertainty, emotions, and discomfort. It's the moment when the old you and the emerging you meet and collide. Growth doesn't ask for grace. It demands surrender. Chaos is not your enemy. It's your evolution in disguise. When life feels unstable, it's often because you're outgrowing what no longer fits. That job, that mindset, that version of yourself, it's all being shaken loose so something better can take its place. You're not falling apart, you're falling into alignment. But because chaos feels uncomfortable, we often run from it. We distract ourselves, numb the feelings, or force premature order. Yet every time we try to skip the messy middle, we cheat ourselves of depth. It's in that chaos where resilience forms, where creativity sparks, where clarity eventually rises. You have to go through it, not around it. Think of the times you grew the most emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. Did those seasons feel easy? Probably not. They were likely filled with confusion, heartbreak, or uncertainty. But when the dust settled, you weren't the same person anymore. You were wiser, braver, more grounded. That's the quiet miracle hidden in chaos. It rebuilds you from the inside out. So instead of resisting the mess, learn to lean into it. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Rather than why is this happening to me? Growth asks you to trust what you can't yet see, to believe that even in disorder, something divine is unfolding. Perfection may look beautiful, but it's static. It doesn't move. It doesn't breathe. It doesn't evolve. Chaos, on the other hand, is alive. It humbles you, sharpens you, and cracks open the parts of you that perfection could never touch. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the chapters that felt like collapse were actually creation. The nights that felt endless were the ones that taught you endurance. The confusion that once broke you became the foundation of your clarity. So if your life feels messy right now, if things are uncertain, unpredictable, or out of control, take heart. You're not off course. You're in the workshop of transformation. The universe isn't punishing you, it's preparing you, and in time, the chaos that once frightened you will become the story that defines your strength. Because growth doesn't begin when life is perfect. It begins when life gets real. Purpose lives in authenticity, not in the polished version of you we live in a world that rewards appearances. Perfect smiles, flawless feeds, filtered lives, we are surrounded by a culture that celebrates the illusion of perfection. Somewhere along the way, we started believing that to be accepted, respected, or successful, we must always look like we have it all together. But the truth is that version of perfection we keep chasing is not where purpose lives. Purpose lives in authenticity, in the unfiltered, unedited, unapologetic version of you. When we hide behind perfection, we build walls that protect us from judgment, but also separate us from connection. People don't fall in love with perfect, they fall in love with real. They don't trust the flawless, they trust the honest. Purpose, at its core, is about impact, and impact doesn't come from pretending to be extraordinary. It comes from embracing your ordinary, your human, your truth. Think about it. The people who inspire us most are rarely the ones who seem untouchable. They are the ones who are relatable, who talk about their failures, their doubts, their lessons. They remind us that strength isn't about never breaking. It's about being brave enough to rebuild in front of the world if you must. Authenticity doesn't demand that you be perfect. It invites you to be present. When you stop performing and start being, life changes. You no longer chase validation, you attract alignment. You stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, am I living honestly? And in that shift, something sacred happens. Your inner world and your outer world begin to match. That's where peace is born. That's where purpose begins to whisper. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing or showing every wound. It means being real about where you are, honoring both your light and your shadow. It means showing up as the same person in public that you are in private. When you live like that, you don't just exist, you embody truth. And the world desperately needs that kind of courage. You see, perfection isolates, but authenticity connects. Perfection impresses, but authenticity inspires. Perfection is admired from afar, but authenticity builds bridges that last. When you're authentic, you become a mirror for others to see themselves. You remind them that it's okay to be imperfect, to be in progress, to be real. And in a society obsessed with masks, being real is an act of quiet rebellion. But let's be honest, authenticity isn't always easy. It's vulnerable. It means risking misunderstanding, rejection, or criticism. Yet, every time you choose truth over image, you reclaim your freedom. Every time you say, this is me, flaws and all, you send a message to the world that worthiness is not a performance, it's a birthright. Purpose doesn't bloom in the curated corners of your life. It blooms in the spaces where you're honest enough to admit, I don't have it all figured out, but I'm showing up anyway. That's where courage grows. That's where your voice finds its strength. So, stop dimming your light trying to fit someone else's frame. Stop rehearsing your truth to make it sound prettier. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real. And real people change the world because they remind others that it's okay to be human. Remember this, the more authentic you become, the clearer your purpose will feel. Because purpose isn't something you chase, it's something that unfolds naturally when you stop pretending and start being. Your story doesn't need polish. It needs presence. And when you live as your truest self, your very existence becomes the message someone else has been waiting to hear. The power of perspective from why me to what's this teaching me? There are moments in life when pain feels unfair, when you look up and ask, why me? Why this loss? Why this struggle? Why this timing? It's a question that echoes in the heart of anyone who's ever faced disappointment or difficulty. But what if the real power lies not in asking why, but in learning to ask what? What is this trying to teach me? That simple shift in perspective doesn't erase the pain, but it transforms it from a burden into a blessing in disguise. Life will never promise a smooth path. It will test your patience, challenge your plans, and sometimes break your heart, but it will also teach you if you let it. Every experience, no matter how painful, carries a hidden lesson waiting to unfold. The universe doesn't send struggles to punish you, it sends them to prepare you. And when you start seeing life through that lens, you move from victimhood to victory. Think about it. The people who carry wisdom, peace, and strength are rarely those who have lived easy lives. They are the ones who have endured storms and learned how to dance in the rain. Their strength didn't come from comfort, it came from challenge. They stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What can I learn from this? Who am I becoming through this?" That shift changed everything. When you live in the why me mindset, you get stuck in resistance. You replay the pain, you feel powerless, and you wait for life to make sense before you move forward. But when you step into the what's this teaching me a mindset, you take your power back. You begin to see purpose in your pain. You start to trust that even in confusion, something meaningful is unfolding. Perspective doesn't change the circumstance, it changes you. It opens your eyes to growth that's happening beneath the surface. Maybe the loss you faced taught you compassion. Maybe the failure taught you humility and patience. Maybe the heartbreak taught you to value yourself more deeply. Life's lessons rarely come wrapped in comfort, they come through discomfort, through friction, through moments that push you to evolve. When you choose to learn instead of complain, you turn your wounds into wisdom. You begin to outgrow bitterness and step into awareness. And awareness is the birthplace of freedom, freedom from resentment, freedom from regret, freedom from the illusion that life must always go your way. Here's the truth. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can always control what it means to you. That's where your strength lies. When you see challenge as a teacher instead of a curse, you start moving through life with grace instead of resistance. You stop fearing change and start flowing with it. You stop seeing problems and start recognizing invitations to grow, to deepen, to awaken. So the next time life throws you into chaos, pause before you ask, "Why me?" Instead, breathe and ask, "What is this teaching me?" That single question can turn heartbreak into healing, confusion into clarity, and pain into power. Because life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. Every experience, every challenge, every delay carries a lesson meant to guide you closer to your true path. When you embrace that truth, even your hardest days begin to hold purpose. Remember, growth doesn't come from answers, it comes from awareness. And awareness begins the moment you stop asking why and start asking what. You are not broken, you are becoming. There are times in life when we feel shattered, when dreams collapse, relationships end or fail, years leave cracks in our confidence. In those moments, it's easy to whisper to ourselves, "I'm broken." But here's the truth, you are not broken. You are becoming. Every fracture, every scar, every painful ending isn't evidence of your ruin, it's evidence of your rebirth. We're taught to see pain as something to escape, to fix, to hide. But pain is not the enemy, it's the sculptor. It carves away what no longer serves you so that your true shape can emerge. Growth doesn't feel graceful while it's happening, it feels uncomfortable, confusing, even unbearable at times. Yet, beneath the surface, something beautiful is forming. You're not falling apart, you're unfolding into a fuller version of yourself. The most powerful transformations rarely happen in light. They happen in the dark. Just like a seed breaks open in the soil before it blooms, you too must go through seasons of darkness before you can rise. The breaking is not destruction, it's preparation. The universe doesn't shatter you to punish you. It breaks you open to expand you, to make room for more compassion, more strength, more wisdom, more love. When you label yourself as broken, you stop your own healing. You start believing that wholeness is lost forever. But wholeness isn't about being untouched. It's about embracing every part of yourself, the strong, the scared, the scarred, and realizing they all belong. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by what you become through it. Look back at your life at the moments you thought would destroy you. Didn't they, in some way, shape who you are today? Didn't they teach you something about resilience, patience, or the value of peace? The cracks you carry are not flaws. They are openings where the light enters. In Japanese art, there's a tradition called kintsugi when pottery breaks. The pieces are mended with gold, making the object more beautiful for having been broken. Imagine your life like that, every crack filled with golden lessons, every wound turned into wisdom. That's not brokenness, that's becoming. The truth is, becoming takes time. It's not a one-day transformation, it's a lifetime of unfolding. Some seasons will stretch you, others will soften you, and a few will shatter you, but each will shape you. Instead of rushing to be fixed, learn to honor the process. Healing isn't about erasing your pain, it's about understanding it, learning from it, and letting it guide you towards something deeper. So when life feels heavy, when you think, I can't do this anymore, remind yourself, you've already survived so much more than you once thought you could. You've fallen and risen before. You can do it again. You are not fragile, you are forged. Every time you rise from something that tried to break you, you become stronger, wiser, softer, more you. The version of yourself you're becoming needs the lessons that only this pain can teach. So instead of saying, I'm broken, try whispering, I'm becoming. Because that's what you are, a masterpiece in motion, a soul under construction, a story still being written. And when you finally look back, you won't see broken pieces, you'll see a mosaic of strength, courage, and grace that tells the story of someone who didn't just survive, but became. Remember, you are not broken. You are beautifully, endlessly becoming. The beauty of becoming, so here we are standing in the middle of our own stories, surrounded by all the pieces that don't quite fit, all the questions that don't yet have answers. And maybe that's exactly where we're meant to be, right in the middle of the mess. Because the truth is, your mess isn't a mistake, it's your message. It's proof that you've lived, that you've tried, that you've dared to become more than what comfort would have allowed. Growth, as we've learned, doesn't begin in perfection, it begins in chaos. The moments that look like collapse are often creation in disguise. Just as a storm clears the sky for a new sunrise, your chaos clears the path for transformation. So when everything feels uncertain, remember, something new is being born within you, and what truly gives that growth meaning is authenticity. Purpose doesn't live in the version of you that pretends, it lives in the version that's real. The one who admits the fear, the confusion, the pain, and shows up anyway. Because when you're authentic, you don't just find your purpose, you become it. You radiate truth in a world hungry for something genuine. Then comes perspective, that sacred shift from why me to what's this teaching me. That moment changes everything. You stop seeing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something that happens for you. Every challenge becomes a teacher. Every ending becomes an opening. Every fall becomes a lesson in how to rise higher. And through it all, remember, you are not broken, you are becoming. The cracks you see as flaws are simply the places where light enters. Your struggles aren't evidence of weakness, they are signs of evolution. You are growing, shaping, unfolding into a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, softer, and far more radiant than before. So embrace your mess. Don't rush to clean it up, hide it, or fix it. Sit with it, learn from it, let it speak. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that every detour, every breakdown, every tear had a purpose to lead you exactly here, to the person you were always meant to become. The beauty of life isn't found in being perfect, it's found in becoming whole. And wholeness is not the absence of mess. It's the courage to embrace it, learn from it, and rise because of it. So the next time your world feels messy, don't despair. Smile gently and remind yourself, this is not the end of my story. This is the beginning of my purpose. Because purpose doesn't live in the polished moments, it lives right here, in the beautiful, brave, and sacred mess of becoming you. Thank you.